When we go to the cameras, everybody pull out your drink. Pull out your drinks. Dan, fix your camera. Better League. Cheers. Cheers to Better League. At another season here. Pull out your Truly, Cody. We know it's there. Truly's. Dan, pull out your water.
Boys.
Welcome Better League as we
What's
are
going
here.
on, everyone?
Madden 22 is upon us. We had our podcast last night, kicking it off with Connor, who didn't want to do face cam today. We can only hold so much beauty from Connor in 1 week, so we told him to take his face cam off, so we appreciate that. Obviously, Cody's already in mid-season form, flexing on us, and Dan inside the car right now, looking beautiful, as per usual, as Cam and Connor already gifting subs already, but let's go ahead and get this rolling here, as we've got ourselves quite the podcast today for the pre-cycle power rankings. But before we do that, let's start off with Dan. Dan, how you feeling tonight, buddy?
Hey, I'm feeling great. Just, sitting in the car, nice and cozy. It's such a great way, such a great league. And, it's been such a long wait, but finally the scouting update came and we are finally going to play some Better League football. Now, we had a lot of content stuff through this off-season, off-cycle period. This is something that, I've been doing for a while, and since Madden 21, just kind of pulling the league, seeing where everyone is, see where everyone is at. And it was only fitting to do a pre-Madden 22 cycle, kind of get everyone pumped up with the power rankings. And usually we do a video. I do a video. It's kind of an excuse to showcase some highlights from every single user. But unfortunately, there's no highlights yet of Madden 22. So here we are. We're doing a good show. CMass put together a great PowerPoint, and I'm excited to, bring you guys what the people asked for, and that's the power rankings.
Damn right, Cody. I mean, I'm going to ask how you're feeling, but I think I know the answer.
Yeah, listen, I'm feeling good. I'm looking good. We're ready to get this going. There's some rumors going around the Better League that this might be my league now. It's just rumors. It's just rumors. Of course, it's Alex's league. We all know that. But there's some there's some rumblings here and there. But no, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great show tonight. Of course, whenever the chain comes out, the glasses, the cutoff hoodie, it's going to be a good night.
And last but not least, Connor over there without his camera on. How you feeling tonight, bud?
I'm doing great, CMass. It's always great to be on one of your shows. I've done power ranking shows for the Better League before, but it's always just my power rankings, so I'm excited to crowdsource these. And, you know, I was pretty nice when I did my when I did my show with Ben. I was pretty nice when I did my show with Lucky and Morty. I'm feeling a little toxic today, CMass. Feeling just a little toxic. I think it's toxic season here in the Better League. I've got my dessert wine with me, and I'm excited to get after it. Let's get to these rankings.
Let's do it. And I'm going to go ahead and sorry, y'all, going to have to miss these pretty faces, but we're going to go full screen here for the power rankings, ladies and gentlemen, as we get another sub, I believe. This one, Do Hootie gifting it to Austin. Not sure why Hero Austin's not already subbed, but we're going to go ahead and get rolling here. Madden 22 pre-cycle power rankings. Thank you to all who voted: Alex Men, Steel, Cam, Cody, CMass, Taint, Justin, Connor, Payne, Little Alex, Dan, Boz, and Lucky. Much appreciated for that. Dan, tell us about this before we even get into the results. Tell us about this process and how it works.
Yeah, so I kind of asked people, just give me a 1 through 32 of where everyone stands today. And we've done this before. We've done this probably 3 or 4 times in Madden 21. I just asked a few users, if you want to do it, you want to participate, give me a thumbs up in the announcements. And, got a lot of participation this time. I think this might be the most people that's ever participated in a full power rankings. It takes a lot of time. And a lot of people had a hard time with it. A lot of people told me, it's very difficult since we haven't done anything this cycle yet. And, that's what you got to expect. No one really knows anything. So it's going to be exciting to see where everyone kind of ranks themselves and ranks everyone around them. And it's just great. When we have like just one guy giving his power rankings, it's one thing. But, when you get the whole league as a whole consensus, you kind of see kind of the beat of the league and see where that pulse is and where people believe you are. And I think that's really exciting right now.
Absolutely. So you saw those people in the bottom left corner. Those are the ones who voted. All right, so we're going to do this power rankings a little bit different, okay? So usually in power, at least for me, in power rankings before, we go individual user by user and we go through and talk about each one. We're not going to do that, okay? We're going to make this a short and sweet show, but we're going to do it broken down into 5 groups, and we're going to go ahead and start off with the first group here. They are in order still, so don't think that we just grouped them all together. They're still in order. And this first group, and I named the groups, this one is called the bottom of the barrel users. So just so you know, Dan was not the toxic one coming up with these names, okay? Bottom of the barrel users. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with number 32, who's going to be a good example for us, and that's Mr. Nicholas. And that's no, not Steel, as Morty comes in with 5 gifted subs. Morty coming in hot, the beautiful man himself. A little disappointed he wore robes yesterday, but 5 gifted subs will certainly make up for it. I'm going to go ahead and silence it so I can talk a little bit, but appreciate it nonetheless. So as you can see there, Nick, number 32, his team. And then over to the right-hand side, you see his highest vote, his lowest vote, and then the difference from Madden 21. So you can see the highest vote he got, he was at 29th. Lowest he got, 32. M21, he was ranked 32 the last time. We're going to get through the rest of the bottom of the barrel users, and we're going to get the thoughts from the other hosts here. So number 31 is Mr. Dr. Gamble with a high of 26, low of 31, and he actually dropped down 2 spots from last Madden. Moving on to number 30, Ryan, high of 24, low of 32, and then he's right in the same spot as we left him at Madden 21. Tim with the Green Bay Packers, high of 26, low of 31. He went up 2 spots there, getting easy mode. And then last but not least, in the bottom of the barrel users, Chap, number 28, high of 24, low of 31. He actually dropped 3 spots, and I think it's just because we haven't seen that pretty face in so long. This is what we consider the bottom of the barrel users. I'm going to start off with Dan because he's had these results for a while. Cody and Connor know nothing. So this is all their raw reactions. Dan, let's start off with you so they can kind of take their thoughts.
Yeah, so, everyone kind of knows, who are the best users, and everyone kind of knows, who's going to be on that bottom tier. And, I love all these guys, all great guys, but I think it's pretty clear that they are kind of at the bottom of the league. And you're going to probably have, maybe a few more that maybe could have been in that bottom of the barrel, but these guys definitely separated themselves. And I just wanted to say these tiers that we did are not necessarily arbitrary things. These are where there were significant gaps in the voting. So there's a big gap between 27 and 28 and, so forth. So, these guys, the reason why they're in the bottom, they're in the bottom 5 is that nobody got anything more than 24. Chap was the highest of Chap got the highest singular vote, and Ryan at 24. Everyone was, obviously in that bottom 8 from every single poll, which, was pretty rare because a lot of these guys are all over the place. So there's only one thing that everyone could agree on, maybe two things: who are the very elite and who are the bottom of the barrel.
And thank you so much for bringing that up, because I forgot to mention that. Definitely big gaps between each one. Let's go ahead and start off with Cody this time. Cody, your thoughts on these bottom of the barrel?
Yeah, I think 32 and 31 for me makes sense with Gamble and Nick. It is surprising that Gamble dropped 2. I'm guessing maybe people kind of boosted him up a bit at the end of the year just with some of his prowess that he had with Donis Morrison. Will be interesting to see what Gamble does. He's got Brady. He's got he's got one of the easy mode abilities. We know Gamble can light up the scoreboard, but can he play defense? And so that'll be interesting to see. Ryan sitting at 30, right there, even with what he was in Madden 21. His high of 24, I think, for me shows, as well as Chap, him and Chap, their high of 24 to me shows. I think people see some glimpses, see some highlights out of them, but more often than not, they kind of, they make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mistakes. 8 maybe is a lot, but a couple mistakes that end up costing him the game. Tim being at 29, we see him +2 from Madden 21, like you said. CMass. I think a lot of that is he's got Rodgers, and he took me to the wire in our preseason tournament. That having Gunslinger is crazy, man. I don't care if you're a bad passer. Having Gunslinger will make you even a decent passer or a sub average passer, which can help you. So that's my thoughts.
Ryan already in the chat, not happy, says 30. You guys. So Ryan's not too happy with his spot there. Connor, what about you, man? What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, just flash reactions here to the first tier, to the bottom of the barrel users, 32, 31, 30. I have those exact 3 users in that exact order. Nick especially is going to have a really, really tough time. That division with Chase, Lucky, and Little Alex. It's just not a lot of hope for him over there. Gamble, now that he doesn't have Donis Morrison, obviously he has that stacked Bucks roster, but it's really hard to see him competing as well, in that division. And then Ryan, he showed flashes, he showed glimmers. Lord knows he'll have fun with Trey Lance, but again, I don't see him kind of getting out of the bottom of the barrel for a while here. I actually have Chap and Tim a little higher than this, and for 2 very distinct reasons. Tim, Cody, you brought up the very good point. He has Gunslinger. It's going to be really, really tough to deal with. It's a tough ability to stop. Even though Tim can make some questionable reads sometimes, I think once he gets used to having that ability, he'll be able to really kind of, solidify his pass offense and make himself, maybe obviously not a playoff contender, but I don't think he'll be a bottom of the barrel user necessarily. And then I honestly think Chap got disrespected here. I think Chap is a little better than this. I do not consider Chap a bottom barrel user. He did just make the playoffs, let's remember, in season 7. And, it's not as if he's consistently fighting for one of those top 5 picks. He can sneak up and surprise some guys on occasion, especially since we know how much he loves mobile quarterbacks. He has Russell Wilson. I think he's better than the 28th best user in the league, just straight up. I think this is a little disrespectful of the league to put him here, but again, high of 24. It's not as if any of us had him too much higher, so I can't get too mad about it. But overall, no real hate for this tier, other than, again, I think Chap and potentially Tim should be a little bit higher.
Fair enough. Let's move on from the bottom of the barrel users. We're going to move over to the next group. And like Dan said, there was a big drop off between 28 and 27. So we're going to move on to this group. And this is the group that we call the Jags, which is just a guy group. Just a guy in the league here. We're going to start off with number 27, and that's Mr. Payne, who had a high of 14, low of 32. He actually went up 1 spot from the end of Madden 21. Next, on number 27, we got Jesse with a high of 16, low of 32. Who put Jesse at 32? That's disrespectful. He actually dropped 6 spots from Madden 21. Move on to number 25, and that's Kook, who had a high of 15, low of 30, dropped 7 spots from Madden 21. Taint, with a high of 9, low of 29, actually went up 3 spots from Madden 21. Caden makes the list. He actually had a high of 10, low of 28, and was not with us at the end of Madden 21, so no difference. And then Cam coming in last guy of the Jags group, high of 11, low of 25, actually dropped 1 spot. Dan, your thoughts of this Jags group?
Yeah, these guys were one step ahead of the bottom of the barrel, and particularly for one of two reasons. One, they all averaged kind of in this range. Basically, all of them were kind of around the same. The other is, they were kind of in that bottom of the barrel, like they got the 28, 29, 30 kind of votes. But there were one or two votes that kind of were outliers that put them pretty high, that kind of push them over that tier. And, you see Tate at number 9. You see Cam at 11, Caden at 10, Payne at 14. Some of these are a little questionable. And honestly, maybe, we'll see who put themselves pretty high. Minor spoiler, but come on. You have a lot of... So basically, these guys... highly variable when you get to this point, but you got a little bit of, a couple high votes that kind of push them over from that bottom period.
Connor, we'll go with you next.
Sure. I mean, again, flash reactions here. Payne at 27, I believe that's exactly where I had him. Obviously, Alex with those Kansas City Chiefs are a former commissioner now. Cody's the new commissioner of this league, but our former commissioner wasn't able to have a ton of success with them. We'll see what Payne's able to do. It's going to be a bit of an upward climb for him. Jesse actually had a bit lower. I had him, I think, in the 29th spot. And that's no disrespect to Jesse, obviously former division mate, Miami brother. I just don't really see a pathway to success for him. Shepley Hotel, bro. You're right. I shouldn't have done it. But again, in that division with Austin and King, it's just going to be tough. Kook, he's variable. You never really know what you're going to get season to season from Kook. I think we saw that all throughout Men 21. One season he's a playoff contender. The next season he's fighting for the number 1 spot. So it's just tough to say. And that Jaguars roster doesn't know favors either. I would love to know who put Taint number 9. That's just wild to me. Probably the worst vote on this list so far. But I do think Taint will be occasionally competitive. I do like the grind that he's put on. I do like the fact that he's trying to improve. So I have high hopes for him. Caden got disrespected here, in my opinion. Just straight up. I don't think he's just a guy. He has one of the highest regular season winning percentages in the history of this league. Our historian Dan can tell you all about that too. I'm not saying that Caden's going to push Cody for the division or anything, but I do think we're going to see a couple playoff runs out of Caden, especially with that fearsome Arizona Cardinals team. I think that's another thing that got kind of overlooked is the rosters that some of these guys have. I mean, that Caden Arizona Cardinals team, I think is going to be a tough out for pretty much anyone. And then Cam, of course, the preseason phenom. It's going to be tough to say. I kind of see him, I guess, in a similar tier as I wouldn't have him as high as Caden, but kind of similar to Caden in that, occasionally he'll sneak up on you. Occasionally he'll take a game from a user he shouldn't. But overall, you look at the season to season, the game to game consistency, I just don't see it. Again, as much like Jesse in a division with Austin and King. So I think Caden has been the most disrespected user of anyone so far.
Steel in chat saying pre-M20BL is trash competition.
That's someone who doesn't know his history. Dan, that's someone who doesn't know his history right there.
Yeah, there's a lot of history out there. You got to appreciate history. You got to love history. So without history, you can't look forward. That's my opinion.
Well,
thank you.
That's when Nico jumped in and said that back in before M20s when he was winning games. So I don't know if he's backing him up or not. Cody, I know that he was saying Caden's going to sneak up on you and that it might happen with your new responsibilities as head commish, but tell us your thoughts on this list here.
Yeah, I think, I think right here what we see is I don't disagree with this list right here necessarily. I am curious that they are the Jags group. I'm wondering if they've talked to Urban at all and how they can use a couple fingers of leverage and see how they can maybe get a little further into the hole and see, if they can, just kind of do better. But, in getting into specifics, though, I think, Payne at 27, to me, seems maybe a slightly disrespectful. I feel like Payne showed a bit more success than probably at least half the names here. I personally can't remember where I ranked him. So if I ranked him low, maybe I disrespected him too. Jesse, I feel like, is definitely getting disrespected a little bit. Maybe this is just people kind of maybe questioning how locked in Jesse is. Obviously he said he wasn't going to join in. Fern then, backed out, and then Jesse came in. So maybe people are just questioning, how locked in is he going to be? I think Kook at 25 is, he took a big drop from Madden 21, but I think that's, for me, that that kind of goes to show you what people know about Kook is like Kook could make a run in the playoffs, or he could go like 4 and 15 or 11, 13, whatever equals 17 games now. But Taint is the most surprising one to me on this list. Not because I think at 24 he's fine, but someone putting him at 9, like maybe that was Taint putting himself at 9.
Well, can I interrupt you, Cody?
Yeah.
So you'll see this more in depth on, maybe a later DL article, but I'll just say it on the stream right now. We talk about CMass putting himself at 3. My guy Taint put himself at 9. He put himself at 9, and everyone else had him in the 20s. Maybe there was, and everyone else had him in the 20s. I think there was 119.
So that's cute. That's cute.
He put himself at 9. It obviously skewed his ranking. He must be really feeling himself with the mutt grind and have a lot of confidence going into the cycle. So I do love it, but we were talking a little bit about the Dunning-Kruger effect. Maybe he thought of himself a little bit more than other people did, but it's pre-cycle. No one really knows what's going to happen. So I'm excited. Taint's got a lot of confidence, but we'll see how he does.
Yeah, and I'll wrap it up with this: is that Caden is. I agree with Connor. Caden, for me, as a guy that's in my division, I just have no clue what to expect. My first game that I play Caden, I literally might be playing like it's a Super Bowl because I just don't know what to expect. If I go in there it's just an easy game, I feel like it's potential that I could just get flooded by him. And so I think you see that a little bit of the high 10. Maybe that was Caden that put himself 10. But I think people are kind of on watch a little bit on Caden. He's really the biggest question mark of this cycle, in my opinion. And, if he can stay the whole cycle. So he has a history of leaving a little early. And then Cam at 22, I think it makes sense. Cam has his highs, but also has his lows. And so it's hard to judge, which Cam you're going to get. Obviously, we know he's here to just have fun and he wants to compete, but, we'll see which Cam we get.
Yeah, when I first saw this list, I thought, wow, there's some of these guys I think should have been higher. Then I looked back at what I sent Dan, and all of them were almost in this exact 22 to 27 range. So felt pretty right to me after that. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. Let's move on from the Jags and this next group. Oops, wrong button. Next group is actually what we consider the fringe playoff users, and there's a decent amount in this group. And let's go ahead and kick it off with the man across the pond, and that's Phil at 21. Had the highest ranked of 11, low of 28. He actually dropped 6 spots from this. Next up is the big question mark, and that's Finn with 1N with a high of 10 and a low of 26. He actually went up 6 spots in this one. Big riser there. Boz coming in at 19 with his Lions, a high of 9, low of 24. He actually dropped 5 spots from M21. Kumar comes in at 18 with a high of 9, low of 24, dropped a spot from Madden 21. Cloud coming in back from Operation Sports with a high of 8, low of 23, and wasn't with us at the end of 21. So Lucky coming in at 16 with a high of 9, low of 31. What the? Who had him at 31? Let's move on. He's actually dropped 6 spots, and it's mostly because of that low ranking probably. And then Justin coming in here with a high of 10. Justin put himself at 10 probably, low of 28, and then down 2 spots. Dan, your thoughts of these fringe guys?
So just a little historical context. Number of total playoff users of Madden 21 through the entire 7 seasons was about 21, 22, 23. It was something like that. So what I think of this is, based on the league's consensus, everyone here and up will at some point make the playoffs, if everyone stays and like that. So, and everyone can in this list. Bill certainly can. Finn certainly can. I put Finn pretty high because he told me he's pretty confident he could be a playoff user in this league, and I've seen him play in top bad, and he's pretty good. Boz, I had a much higher because I know what he's capable of. Kumar, we've seen Pete Kumar. Pete Kumar, is pretty dangerous. He can definitely make a run. Cloud, Lucky, Justin, those guys, have been here for a while. They've all made great runs. They're not on that top tier, but hey, they can beat anyone on any given Sunday. So I definitely consider this, a pretty good list of guys, that could possibly make the playoffs. A little, some people are a little disrespected, I think, but I'm happy to know that, the league considers these people as potential playoff users.
Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think in general these are fair. I do have a couple gripes as we'll get to them, but Phil, Finn, and Boz, this is all around where I had them. As far as Phil goes, obviously had a pretty strong start to the cycle last cycle, Men 21. Ultimately couldn't piece it together for the entire cycle. We'll see what he does once he gets those 5 tight end sets going over there in Denver. Finn, again, I'm repeating myself from last night's pod, but I don't know what to expect from Finn. He could be a demon. He could be trash. I don't know. I've really never seen him play. I've seen him announce, and he clearly knows a lot about the game and just, from a gameplay perspective. But as far as his actual, ability goes, I really don't know. So 20 feels pretty fair. That's kind of like a we don't know where to put him type of placement there. And then Boz, again, kind of like Phil, had a really strong start to the cycle. Season 3 made it all the way to the NFC Championship game where he played Ben, but ultimately, and you can say this, CMass is one of his division mates, wasn't able to piece together that consistency. Kumar, really came on late, opposite of Phil and Boz, he really came on late, and I do think maybe he got a little disrespected here at number 18. I'd have him maybe a skosh higher than that, and I'd also have Cloud, I think Cloud of any of these guys was maybe the most disrespected. Let's not forget, I'm not talking ancient history here, I'm talking, Madden 21. Cloud was right there in that NFC West. I think he won it the first season, if I remember correctly, made it all the way to the NFC Championship game against Dan, I believe, but Cloud's an elite user. Cloud is a truly elite user, and I think him being at number 17 is due purely to the fact that we just haven't seen him play for a while. But you look at the high of 8, I believe that was my vote. I think I had him at number 8. And honestly, the 8, 10, 12 range, that feels more fair to where I would have Cloud personally, especially with that really tough Titans roster. Lucky, there's really no way to know. He was able to really compete in that very, very strong NFC West. And maybe he got a bit disrespected as well, but there's a lot of good users in here. So at some point, some guys got to fall. And then Justin, CMass, do I get toxic about Justin here real quick?
Absolutely.
I'll let you say. All right, so Justin, here's the deal. I'm not even going to talk about the way you were just wilding out in general, trying to disrespect my man Cody Youngson. I'm not even going to talk about that. You're just a fuckhead. That's really all there is to say about it. I can't. I just have so much anger towards this man right now because, again, he tried to come after Cody, most overrated user in the league, thinks way too highly of himself as a man, as a user. I can't do it anymore. Cody, can you take this from me, please? I can't deal with Justin anymore. I can't do it.
Yeah. I'll step in. I'll step in with my takes, and we'll see where it goes from there. I think I agree with what Connor was saying before with Phil, Finn, and Boz, but I will caveat it with this: Cody Youngson, right here, stamp of approval, is a Boz stan this Madden. I think if there's any one user that could make some noise, that people didn't expect, is Boz. And here's why. He's got his team. Sure, that team is the Lions. But a lot of people said, a user by the name of Cody Youngson wasn't going to do much with the lowly Bengals roster. Obviously, did it season 1. Didn't do a whole lot after that, but that's, we'll forget, seasons 2 through 7. We'll remember season 1. But all I'm saying is my guy Boz has been putting in the work. He's been playing, but he's been, obviously he's been in Bless. I don't think he's in, but I'm just saying, Boz has been putting in the work. He's been playing a lot of Madden. So for a lot of people that got a burp, there it is. For a lot of people that, I think I've heard a lot of maybe chirpings of oh, Cody's been playing the game a lot, but there's been a few other people that have been playing this game a lot. Boz is one of them. Taint's one of them. Steele's been playing a little bit more than I feel like I've ever seen him play before as well. So all I got to say is Boz has the Cody Youngson stamp of approval. The rest of that, Kumar at 18, that feels right there for him. Cloud at 17, that feels right there for him. For me personally, Cloud does have that potential to really make a run, but how locked in is he going to be? Is he going to be here for a season and quit? Is he going to, Cloud's kind of a roller coaster guy. When he's riding the high, he's going to ride that high, but when he's on his way down, he's going to be like, I'm the worst user in the league, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So which Cloud are we going to get? Lucky at 16? I think that's pretty good, maybe a little bit disrespectful. Lucky showed Lucky's a guy that shows once you let him build his team up and kind of get some things going, he really cannot be slept on. Now, time and time again, when I play Lucky, I go into the game like, oh, I can beat Lucky, and then he takes me to the rope. I feel like every single time, and that's the type of user Lucky is. So maybe he's more of a 15, 14, closer to the 15, kind of top half of the league. And then Justin at 15, I can't disagree with it. He just, it feels like he's kind of put himself in this position where it's like maybe he'll do good, but probably he won't.
Let me just point out the fact that every single person on this list is 15 and lower. Everyone except for Phil was highest ranked in the top 10.
Yeah,
that's crazy disparity.
Yeah,
that so many.
Yeah, that
people,
goes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that just goes to show you just how highly variable these rankings are. No one really knows what's going on. So, it happens with every cycle. Everyone's like, "Oh, I bet you this guy's going to break out. This guy's going to regress." And then, when after a season or two, everyone's like, "Oh, we were totally wrong pre-cycle." You go back. I mean, no disrespect, Connor, but you go back to all the better casts of years past. You're like, "Oh, this guy's going to be great," and then he's not, or vice versa.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. 100%.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But that just goes to show you how little we know going into. We're going in blind, so you can't fault anyone for being too hard or being too soft on you.
For sure. And I just want to point out that I actually had Kumar at 10, Cloud at 11, and Finn at 15. So I think highly of those guys. Boz I had higher too. Who put Lucky at 31? Who in their right mind?
Yeah, that's disrespect. That's disrespect.
I will say this.
Out them.
Is it Ben?
I referenced it in general. I said someone told his burner to bag on another user, and that was Payne. He put Lucky at 31.
Yeah.
I don't really know what was up with Payne's list. It was kind of all over the place. Ben told me.
Maybe he was just like closed his eyes and picked names.
Ben told me he talked to him, and he was like really going it by roster more so than like user skill or potential like that. So
okay.
So maybe that's kind of an argument because the Giants, they don't have that great of a roster and everything like that. But I really don't know. It's a little confusing, but I figure, I like him when he talks in the chat, but I thought he had one of the worst lists. I'll be honest.
Yeah,
there were some pretty bad lists, and
worse than Taint at 9.
The worst. I mean, Taint. I'll be honest. Taint also gave me a pretty bad list.
I could justify Taint at 9 before I could justify Lucky at 31. Though I think Lucky at 31's the worst take we've had so far.
That's definitely the worst one. Yeah. That's the worst one by far.
Look, Lucky had a few in the top 10, and then he had some in the 20s, and he had that obviously pretty big outlier 31.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to what I consider the playoff users, and I think this is the biggest group we have, so I'm going to go through them fairly quickly. Coming in just barely is number 14 is Steel with a high of 5. Somebody was drunk. Low of 25. Actually dropped 6 spots from M21. 13 is Chase with a high of 7, low of 19. He actually went 10 spots since M21 getting his team. King comes in at number 12, 7 high, low of 23. Actually dropped 3 spots, mostly because of his team, probably. Here comes Connor at number 11 with a high of 6, low of 20. Connor dropped 6 spots. Hold in your steam there, Connor. We'll get to you here in a second. Then the former commissioner, Alex, with a high of 6, low of 19. Actually went up 2 spots at number 10. Number 9, Morty with the God Secondary. Highest at 4. Wow. Low of 21. Actually went up 7 spots with that God Tier Secondary. Number 8 comes in Ben with a high of 5, low of 22. Actually dropped down 1 spot. Do Hootie coming in with a high of 5, low of 17. Went up 12 spots from last Madden. And then last but not least of the playoff users, number 6, Hero. High of 3, low of 18. Actually went up 5 spots.
Interesting.
Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah, one thing that really sticks out in your mind is 3 NFC North users right here, and you still got 1 to go. So everyone feels very highly on that NFC North. I know we were talking about bloodbath division and everything. AFC North, yes, okay. AFC North. And it seems like the people really believe that, you're going to have consistently 3 or 4 playoff teams with the, the 7-team format and everything like that. So, honestly, I think Steel's in the chat. he's not happy with that. I honestly think Steele was too low. I think Steele should be a little higher. I think Dahoudi, you don't really know what's going on with Dahoudi. I had him at 6. So I think he's definitely going to break out this year and be kind of that old Dahoudi that, was pretty dominant in past cycles. There's some people that I would not have as high. I personally had like a guy like Big Alex. I really didn't have him higher. I actually had Boz over Alex. I think Boz was at a better position right now than Big Alex. But really, anything can happen. And Connor, a little bit lower than 11. Morty, it's very interesting. Morty jumped way up, and I really think it was reactionary based on what the deals were with the Panthers and that team. And Morty told me he's very comfortable with what he's got on defense, and he expects to do well in that regard. He had I had the spreadsheet of every single cycle, his record through all the cycles, 17 through 21. He was a phenomenal user, 17 through 20. I think he never dropped below a 700 win percentage. And then in 21, he really dropped off and was about a 500 user. Hopefully, because I really love Morty. I really love when Morty's good. I hope he takes these Panthers to a really good team because that would be wonderful. And Ben, we talk about variability in some of these users. Ben had the highest variability, I think, of anyone. So many people were like, oh, he's got a terrible team, so he's going to suck. What's he going to be without him? I really don't buy that. I think he's got Deshaun Watson. He's got that fast quarterback. We talk about Ben with escape artist. He pretty much has escape artist with the way Madden 22 works with everything like that. Like I'm flying out of the pocket with Kellen Mond with normal development, 85 speed. So Ben's going to do just fine with his team. And that's basically all I have.
I'm going to go with Cody next, just so Connor can simmer a little bit more.
Good idea.
I can't wait. But let's buckle in a little bit here because this is where we're getting into the nitty gritty. We're getting into some, a lot of, kind of some hot takes and, some crazy lists potentially. Obviously, not as many lists were submitted as we had hoped. But, let me just start with Steele. I think Steele at 14 is maybe slightly disrespectful. I could see him bumped up a couple, and that's why I say slightly. Whoever put him at 25, obviously, I'm gonna just go ahead and say that was probably Payne, going off what Dan said before. Knowing that Steelers roster isn't the best, but obviously we know Steele's the guy who's been playing Madden, been playing MUT. He's in top. He knows his way around the game. So you assume, even though he's in a tough division, he's going to be able to get it together. Is he going to be able to get it together to grab a playoff spot? We'll see. But that's to be said. Here's where things get interesting. Chase at 13 for me, is not shocking, but a little surprising. I will come here, hands clean. I'm Pontius Pilate, like my hands are clean. I put Chase at 19. And that's no disrespect to Chase. I know who Chase is. I know the user he is, but I don't know if he's locked in. I really don't know if he's locked in. He's got kids. He left the last Madden because he just had too much on his plate. Madden has changed quite a bit since Chase had success. This is a completely different Madden. So I think a high of 7, him being at 13, obviously I was his low vote, is interesting to me because it's like, what Chase are we going to get? If we get the good Chase, then look out. But if we don't get the good Chase, then I think he could be 15 and beyond. And that's maybe a hot take. I love Chase. Listen, that's not me saying anything else. I literally love Chase. But I just don't know what Chase we're going to get. King at 12 feels fitting. Connor at 11, which I'm sure, I will let him do his due diligence. But that is quite a bit of disrespect. I had Connor at 7 personally. His highest was 6, so I was one off of his highest. Let me be real. Connor, I'm pretty sure, has a better roster than I do. I thought I picked the Rams. I thought, oh, they're a playoff team. They're gonna have a great roster. The Saints have a better roster than the Rams do. You're talking about a guy that just took the Browns, and won a Super Bowl over, one of the best users in the league. Obviously he had to go through Austin to get there. And to put him at 11 out of the top 10, that's a lot of disrespect. And then you follow that up with Alex, who hasn't done anything in like a cycle and a half, and put him at 10 with a high of 6. I mean, I put Alex at 8. I will say I put Alex at 8. So I'm not too far off. So, but to put Alex before Connor, who hasn't done anything in a cycle and a half, and he had the Chiefs, and now he has a worse roster. Yes, it's his team, but I don't know. Number 9, Morty. I like the pick. Morty's a guy you just like. He's any given Sunday. Morty's any given Sunday. You give him a good team. That defense looks like it's going to be crazy. I really think Morty's a guy that could shoot onto the scene this year. Ben at 8. That's something else. Ben, again, didn't do a whole lot last cycle with a way better team than the Texans. So we'll see. I do think Ben deserves respect to be in the top 10 at number 8. But the question will be this cycle for Ben, what can he do when he starts with a team that has nothing? And now that's the challenge he wanted. That's the challenge he wanted for himself. That is quite literally the challenge he wanted for himself. Because every year he gets a team that's got assets, he moves them, and he does his GM thing. Let's see his GM skills when his only asset is basically Deshaun Watson. Dehudi at 7, I love the pick. I think Dehudi is slept on because he's been in and out of better league. I think he is a guy that can come in and just absolutely destroy any user if he's locked in. So we'll see what we get. Hero at 6 for me, bit surprising. Whoever had him as a high at 3, I don't know. That's surprising to me. Hero won what? Like one playoff game last year? I love Hero. I love him. I don't want him to think I'm disrespecting him. But he won what? Like one playoff game last year? And then before that, I don't know if he had won a playoff game in any other cycle. Or maybe he's won like a few. So him all the way up there at 6 and a high of 3 is it's a take. It's a take, and it might be a hot one.
I'm gonna go before you, Connor. Simmer just a little bit more. I had Chase at 7, so I was just high, and I think that he's gonna come back strong. Steele at 25. Somebody putting him at 25 is ridiculous. I definitely think he's a top.
I'll just say the 25. Sorry to cut you off. That because Steele asked me in chat. That was taint.
Oh, okay.
I highly disagree. So I don't know what that was all about. Pretty toxic. So yeah.
They must have played like against each other and Steele got his butt whooped or something. King, I had King right around that spot. Connor too low. Alex too high. Morty, I had Morty right at 9, so that's right about right. Ben, to be fair, I know that you said that Ben hasn't done anything last cycle. I will say, as the NFC, we have to count NFC Championship games because we didn't win any Super Bowls. So he did make 4 NFC Championship games and won 2 of them. So he did do something.
That's fair.
He just didn't win. Just didn't win a Super Bowl. Dehudi, I had him at 6, and then Hero, I had at 8. So most of these I had pretty close to this. All right, Connor, I got my finger on the button. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, so to give everyone their due respect here, I'm not going to fly off the handle yet. I'm going to kind of jump around here and kind of give my takes on everyone else, if you will.
I know where this is going.
Steele at 14 feels about right in my opinion. And that's no disrespect to Phil or to Steele, excuse me. Obviously, did make the Super Bowl. Did give Austin a pretty good go at it. But ultimately, that division is really, really tough. I think he starts out at a roster disadvantage with that Pittsburgh Steelers team. So no disrespect to Steele. It's just he's got a bit of an uphill climb moving forward. But if he's able to build that Steelers team to where he wants it, I think that's pretty good. Chase, it's interesting, Cody, I heard you saying that you had him at 19. I actually had him a good bit higher than 13, and maybe that's just me being like overly scared of how he was in like Madden 18, Madden 19. Maybe I'm like looking at the past too much instead of the present, but I do think Chase is maybe going to be a bit better than 13. But again, I could very easily be proven wrong there. Maybe Chase just isn't elite anymore. We'll have to see. King, number 12, that feels exactly right to me. He does have a really tough division with Austin, but Cam and Jesse should be able to, at least compete for the wild card in most seasons. And I do think that Zach Wilson in his hands is going to be really, really tough to deal with. Alex, maybe a little high in my opinion, but I don't hate it as much as it sounds like CMass and Cody especially do. I do think he's maybe a bit better than that Madden 21 cycle showed. Morty, I absolutely love Morty. Like, I can't give an unbiased opinion about Morty because he's one of my favorite users in here. That Carolina Panthers team is going to be really, really tough. So, we'll see what he's able to do. He should compete more often than that for the division. I'm going to skip number 8. Number 7, I do think Dehudi, I've only played him twice, so it's kind of tough to say, from my perspective, exactly how good it'll be, because, I wasn't involved with him in Madden City. I don't know a ton about his play style, but I do hear from enough elite users that he is a true Super Bowl contender, and he has won Super Bowls in this league, so I have to give him the benefit of the doubt, even though, it'll be tough year 1 with that Bengals team, but then again, Cody did take that year 1 Bengals team to a Super Bowl, so obviously it's possible. Hero, quite a bit too high in my opinion, but, we love our armed forces here. We love the troops. I love my snuggle buddy there in Hero, so I'm not going to say too much about that. Now,
turn your volume down.
Let me take you all back to January 15th, 2021, right? The birds were chirping, the sun was shining, and beautiful day in the Better League. I had just beaten Austin in the AFC Championship game the day before. Ben had just beaten Boz pretty decisively. One of the most anticipated Super Bowls in Better League history, right? Connor versus Ben, Super Bowl 29. What's going to happen? Well, let me tell you what happened, folks. And this was with Ben having a much better roster than that Houston Texans team that he has currently. I made that fucking spread.
Did we lose
Cut
him?
out! It cut out!
Oh, no.
It cut out! It cut out!
Connor, we lost you. Oh, no.
He got so wild. He got so wild he cut out.
I think his apartment complex shut his internet off as soon as they heard him screaming.
Oh, no.
Connor, you back yet?
He might have disconnected.
Oh, he's here.
I mean, he's in here, but his
He's
mic's not
here.
working. He must have pulled his mic out.
He may have had a full Ganipkin fit. A full Ganipkin fit. That's an all-time moment right there. Oh, he's back.
Let me repeat myself in case Seattle didn't hear me, okay? We are talking about a trash-ass user who needs the team. Let's be honest, Cody. He needs the team in order to compete for Super Bowls, okay? We know it's true. That San Francisco 49ers team, much like Young Alex, he picked his abilities, had one of the most stacked defenses, one of the most stacked offenses in the league, and couldn't do jack shit in Super Bowl 29, okay? Y'all know it's true. You all saw it. I know you all saw it live. 550 YouTube views. I know you all saw it live. And that's not even me hyping myself up. That's the thing. That's not even me hyping myself up. I think 11 is honestly about fair because I don't have the Cleveland Browns roster anymore. I am the humble host ultimately. I don't think I'm as good as many of these users. I know damn well that I'm as good as Ben Tennant, though, especially with that Houston Texans team. Come the fuck on, Better League.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on.
Bring that energy. Bring that energy.
I like it. I like it. So, I mean, which channel is Ben going to leave because of this? Let's go ahead and move on to what we consider, or at least I consider, which is the top 5 people. Super Bowl contenders is what the league would probably consider them. Is that safe to say? If they're top 5, they're probably considered Super Bowl contenders.
I feel like I might know who 5 through 1 is going to be.
You want to guess who number 5 is?
5's going to be Little Alex.
Number 5 is Little Alex with going ahead the highest rank at number 2, lowest rank at number 8. He actually dropped down 1 spot. Cody, you got it right, but I'm going to go ahead and go with Dan first because he knows about it. Dan, your thoughts on number 5 for Little Alex?
Yeah, so when we transition to 5 through 1, these are the only 5 users that were all in the top 10 from single submission. So basically everyone agrees that these guys are going to be playoff users. They're going to be contending for Super Bowls, going to be contending all cycle long for as long as they're going to be here. Little Alex really, like, I wish we had a pre-cycle power ranking for Madden 21 because he was probably like 22
Yeah.
or something like
Yeah.
that.
You know,
Because
Good point.
and he absolutely broke out, and he went to the AFC Championship season 1, and people thought that that was kind of a Cinderella story, and he really proved everyone wrong in that regard because he went and just
you're good. Keep going.
season,
Yeah.
basically until the AFC Championship game where, he just completely fell apart. But regardless, he was probably, like, people would say, he's probably the second best user of the cycle of Madden 21. You could definitely argue that. You could definitely argue he was number 2. He just couldn't get it done against Austin, and that's really all that mattered at that point. But if Austin wasn't there, he would have won multiple Super Bowls, and people believe that little Alex is going to continue and potentially get even better and possibly win a championship. I know he's one of the favorites. I know he definitely can, and maybe he will. We'll see.
All right, Cody, you got it right. You get to go first. Your thoughts on 5?
Yes. Yeah, I think little Alex at 5 for me makes sense. I mean, I just guessed it. I think Alex is that guy that should be right there at 5. At 5 for me, that means people think at any given on any given day he could win a Super Bowl. He just hasn't yet. He's got he's shown that he knows how to team build. He's been a pretty good GM. He built up quite a squad there in Buffalo. Did he choose a couple abilities? That's up in the air. We're really not sure. Some people say yes, others say no. So I think Alex at 5 makes sense to me. That's why I guessed. I think I know who 1 through 5 is. I said Alex at 5. It makes sense. I think for me, what since Alex is so new to this league, and when I say new to this league, he's been in it for 2 cycles. He wasn't even in it for the full cycle in 21, right? Correct? Is that correct? Anyone?
I
Dan,
believe
do you
so.
know?
I'm sorry,
but-
Cody. Can you repeat the question? My bad.
He wasn't in the full cycle for 21, right? Alex
Who?
wasn't?
Little Alex was here.
Alex.
Full cycle.
Full cycle. Okay, all right.
Cycle.
But regardless, he's been here for 2 full cycles. A lot of us have been in this league or other Madden leagues for 3, 4, 5, 6 cycles. So what I think for what maybe is going to be kind of the test is, can he keep it up? Can he keep it up? Can he keep playing at a high level? Can he keep team building the way that he team built those builds up? And I would say, yeah, he probably can, because good users aren't fluky. He literally was my father last cycle. I'll sit here and admit that he was my father. Every time I would go in, I'd play the Buffalo Bills, I'd feel confident, and then I'd leave with my tail tucked between my legs, and that just is what it is. So for me, Alex at 5 makes a lot of sense. I think he has a chance to make a splash this year, but we'll see.
Connor?
He died again.
Connor, did we lose you again?
When you try your best, but you don't succeed.
Connor. There you
I'm
go.
trying. Hold on. Sorry.
Yeah, you're here. You're here. We hear you. Well,
We did.
unless you're talking again, then we don't hear you. I heard
Yeah,
you
now,
say
so
when
sorry
you're
about that, y'all.
Hey, you're here again.
I'm here again. Should be here to stay now. I guess my audio just broke. I was probably screaming too loud earlier, but I had little Alex at number 3. Number 3 compared to number 5. That's obviously no huge sign of disrespect. We'll get to another user here, pretty soon, who I would be blown away if he doesn't win his first Super Bowl. I would also be pretty blown away if little Alex doesn't win his first Super Bowl this cycle. He was, in my opinion, the second best user of the entire cycle last cycle. It was only really Austin that stood in his way, and Lord knows Austin stood in his way. Little Alex was never quite able to crack that code, but he made it to that AFC Championship game more often than not. I believe 4 out of the 7 seasons in the cycle, he made it all the way to the AFC Championship game. That Washington team's really tough. Obviously, one of the best pass rushes, one of the best front sevens in the league. Montez Sweat, Chase Young, etc. We'll see if he's quite as locked in. He's got his college going. Lord knows he likes to tell us about it every time he goes out clubbing, goes out drinking with his boys. If he will give us a whole play-by-play in the random chat. So we all appreciate that. Thank you, Little Alex, for that.
How's college? How's college going to get him?
Let me know. But I do think Little Alex, I do see him as a Super Bowl contender, and if I had to bet money on it, I do think he will win his first Super Bowl at some point during the Madden 22 cycle.
Yeah, I think I had the top 5, the same users, but in a different order. I had Little Alex a little bit higher, but I think him in the top 5 makes a lot of sense. And let's go ahead and move on to.
Am I guessing 4?
I was going to let somebody else guess 4, but if you guys are okay with. Wait, what's going on here? Hold on. Okay. You want to go ahead and guess 4? Anybody?
I mean, they can guess 2 if they want, but I think 4 is Dan.
I know the answer.
Obviously, Dan was the answer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Dan, too. I'm going Dan.
Number 4 is... We're going backwards. I pressed the wrong button. I was wondering why it looked different. Okay, yeah. Number 4 is not Dan. Number 4 is actually myself with the Baltimore Ravens.
I don't know, Better League. I don't know. I don't know.
And to be fair, I did not put myself at number 1. High of 1, low of 7. I went up 2 spots. Dan, your thoughts?
Whoa.
Yeah, CMass is, everyone's high on those Baltimore Ravens. Obviously looking for his first Better League championship, and, he's very confident. You can hear him in his voice. He's, he feels very confident with Lamar Jackson and basically the full body of work of the team. He's got a tough division, but, if anyone can do it, maybe it could be CMass. We'll see. He's definitely one of the favorites to come out of the AFC and win that Super Bowl. So I'm excited to see what you do, CMass, heading into this cycle, because a lot of people have very high expectations, but you just got to grind, put your head down and compete, get to work, and just compete to the very end. So I wish you the best of luck.
Connor, I want you to go to next just because I know you're going to fluff me up. And did you put me at 1?
I wanted to CMass, but now I didn't. I put you at 2, and again, I was saying Little Alex, I'd be surprised if he doesn't win his first Super Bowl this cycle. I would be blown away if you don't win your first Super Bowl this cycle. It's compared to what I said in the podcast last night with Lucky and Morty. I just think this is the perfect culmination of team and cycle for you. You're already an elite user, obviously. Lamar Jackson in Madden 22 specifically is going to be really, really tough to stop. It seems like you're already kind of figuring out what you want to do based on, the preseason tournament, based on, every time I've played you just in a head-to-head game, it's just been really, really tough. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the division's going to be really tough for you. It's going to be kind of a tough out in that way. But if you're able to get there, if you're able to get to the playoffs every year, these Baltimore Ravens are going to be just as tough as anyone. And Justin, you're correct. I am absolutely lightheaded because I had to scream twice because I cut out the first time. So I'm kind of down bad right now. But CMass, I had a number 2.
Well, Justin is wrong in the second thing where he said CMass put himself at 1. I did not. Cody?
Yeah, I mean, CMass, who do you think put you at 1? If your best guess, who do you think
I was
1?
I was like 90% certain it was Connor based on preseason hype. Like he was just all up on these goodies. He probably put you 1, to be honest, if he didn't put me 1. But
so if it wasn't Connor, then who do you think of the people that turned the polls?
I'm guessing you based on the way you're asking me.
CMass, I put you at 1, brother. I put you at 1.
We fucking did it.
Listen, here's what I think. I think, I was surprised. I was surprised to see you at 4. I really was. I thought Dan was going to be at 4, and that's no disrespect to Dan. Really, I think what the difference maker there for me is, in terms of starting a cycle, you have a better team than Dan does. The Ravens are in a better spot than the Vikings are through and through. And so I'm a little surprised to see you at 4. Obviously, you made, 2 Super Bowls and all but 1 in there, all but 1 or 2 in NFC Championship games?
All but 2.
All but 2 NFC Championship games. So a little bit surprised to see a low of 7. Maybe people think that you just had a fluke year or something like that. But even if you had a fluke year and stuff like that last year, I mean, you've got a great team to just go out and compete. And then if you go off of what you had last year, you built a great team off of a pretty average or mediocre Bears team, to be honest. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm a bit surprised to see you at 4, and like I said, that's literally no disrespect to Dan. That's just I think there should be a little, sure, there's the what's the word I'm looking for here? There's the I don't know, meme of like the preseason like tourney champion.
Yeah.
Alex won it last year, then literally crapped his pants the whole cycle. But like the difference is I don't know. I think you're a bit more you show I don't know. You just kind of I feel like you're proven. And not that Alex isn't proven, but I don't know. I think maybe that's it. People kind of playing up the meme a little bit of like he won the preseason tourney. He just had one good cycle. You haven't been in BL obviously for a crazy amount of time. But I'll just to say, repeating what I've been saying, I am surprised to see you at 4. I put you at 1. I'm putting respect on your name, to be honest with you. Obviously we never met in a Super Bowl. But
You're lucky we didn't.
I know that Austin. I know that Austin took me to Austin and I's games, little Alex and I's games. Always went to the ropes, and so see you take Austin to the ropes. I can only assume, okay, this guy's legit.
Appreciate the love, Cody, and I appreciate being in top 5. That's all. I was like, I hope I'm top 5. The end of M21, me being at 6, I felt a little upset about that. I felt a little disrespected about it, but just because I hadn't won a Super Bowl, I understood it. Now, when it's pre-cycle, like I feel like I gotta be top 5. I got there. I got in there barely. People say, Justin says the division makes me not top 3, and honestly, it might make me a lower seed than I may be if I was in an easier division. But I got 6 playoff games.
It doesn't matter come playoffs. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah,
I got 6 playoff games.
Your division doesn't. Yeah, your division doesn't matter come playoffs. Like you make the playoffs, your division doesn't.
As long as you make it there, I think it actually helps you. I think being battle tested is a good thing.
I got 6 playoff games in the regular season.
100%.
Let's go ahead and move forward from number 4, and this person was very, very close, according to Mr. Daniel, when we talked about it before the cycle. Connor, you want to take any guesses at number 3?
Number three, we got these 3 guys left. I will go with. Oh God, I'll go with Dan.
You are correct, Mr. Connor. Dan comes in at number 3 with the exact same high of 1, low of 7, and this is the exact same spot we left him in M21 at number 3. Dan, I'll save you for last because this is your team. Connor, you guessed it right, so you get to go ahead.
Sure. Yeah. I had Dan number 4, so number 3 versus number 4. That's no big gap there. Obviously, our defending Super Bowl champion. I think he's in I think a pretty ideal division for him in terms of there's that mixture between he's going to be battle tested come playoff time. He has Alex twice a year. He has Boz twice a year. But at the same time, I don't really think he's at a threat to ever miss playoffs necessarily in that division. It feels like about the same quality level as his Madden 21 division did, where he's able to, pretty consistently make it, at least, at the end of the cycle. So I think the division's pretty ideal for him. Obviously, the Vikings roster, and Dan can tell you more about this, it does have some holes, but I am excited to see, once he gets his quarterback situation figured out, I do think he's right up there with everyone. We know Dan, we know that he's, when it comes to, just the game of Madden, he's as smart as they come. He's as disciplined as they come. He'll be grinding along with everyone. He has the motivation to win, to continue to prove himself, because that New Orleans Saints cycle last cycle, up until the very end, it was a little disappointing by his standards. I don't think the fact that he won the Super Bowl in season 7 is really going to quench his hunger. I think he's still ready to prove himself. So we'll see. Will he have another Madden 20 type of just truly dominant cycle in him? We'll see. I wouldn't put it past him.
Cody.
Yeah, I think Dan at 3 is fair to me. I as well put Dan at 4. I think this is right around kind of what Connor was saying. Dan is a perennial playoff user. He's always going to be there. He, if you go up against him, he's never going to be an easy win. And so it's going to be. I think the biggest question will be, how does Dan build this Vikings team? Obviously. Dan has admittedly, been a guy that said, he's not the best GM in the world. He is not a guy that likes to, spend all day in people's DMs trying to work out trades. The Saints started with a much better roster. The Vikings start out with a much worse roster. So, how does Dan do that? Does he just develop draft targets? Obviously, we've got the new scouting. Does that change up drafts at all a little bit? Obviously, we know the past few Maddens drafting has been pretty much a wash. You might be able to find a couple diamonds in the rough and build them up, but it's not a great team building plan to just be like, oh, I'm just going to draft a bunch of guys from what we've known. So does the scouting, the new scouting and all that, does that change that? But at the end of the day, Dan is Dan. You could give him a garbage team, just like I won that Super Bowl with that Bengals team. You could, Dan's the same type of guy. He could go out with a 75 overall roster, 73 overall roster. I don't know, any roster, and he puts a good game plan together. He's going to win it. So I think number 3 is fitting.
Yeah, I had Dan into my top 5 too. Feel like this is a great spot for him. I feel like anyone in like that 3 to 5 range, me, little Alex, and Dan are interchangeable. So I think Dan being a 3 is just fine. Dan, your thoughts?
Yeah. So just going a little big picture wise, and maybe this is my bias creeping in, but I got the data to prove it. So since since myself, Austin, and Cody entered the league in Madden 20, I mean, every Super Bowl is basically one of the 3 of us, with just maybe a few exceptions, Connor being one of them, and maybe Ben being the other or whatever. So I really think that, as long as the 3 of us are in the league, at any given point, it's going to be 1, 2, 3 in whatever order. Myself, Austin, Cody. So, and the people decided that we were going to go 1, 2, 3 at the top. So it's wonderful to see, the roadie boys and Cody, honorary roadie. I know he's, chair is empty right now looking at the video that you guys can't see. But I think I'm pretty confident I'm very comfortable with what the Vikings are at right now. Entering the cycle, a lot of people were like, oh, I don't know how good the Vikings are going to be. I took a look at this roster. Connor definitely mentioned it's got some holes in it, but I do feel comfortable with what we have at the moment. Quarterback's obviously a question. Norman Fletcher last cycle was very painful in the Operation Sports era, trying to get him to that, overall that was, viable, and getting him devved up. That was so painful. And we had so many growing pains as a team with the quarterback and everything like that. But we grew and we ended up succeeding in the end. So all that crap didn't matter. But, Kellen Mond, I think that's going to be the guy right now. He's got a 66 overall. So, he's going to be making some bad throws. It's going to be a lot of growing pains, but I don't know, man. We just had a preseason game at US Bank against those Denver Broncos, and that guy was kind of throwing some dots. I'll tell you what, he was on the run. He was running out of the pocket. He was kind of my guy. So I do feel comfortable with him. Maybe when we get into some weather games, he's going to make some bad throws, but I'm confident that over the 6 seasons we'll probably have in this cycle, I'm going to dev him up to be something good, and we're going to compete for championships and hopefully right away. So I'm excited for what we have. There's definitely some roster decisions I got to make, but nothing too crazy, and I'm just excited to compete. New cycle, next gen. Got a great division, got some great buddies in the division, and just ready to compete, get out of the gate, and let's get this cycle going.
Let's get it going. Move on to number 2. This might shake some feathers. Number 2 is actually Austin with the New England Patriots at number 2 with a high of 1, low of 5. He actually dropped down that 1 spot from number 1 from M21. Dan, since you already knew about it, let's start off with you.
Yeah, so
A lot of people
Austin was definitely very divisive in this whole power rankings thing. You either had him at 1 because people were like, okay, he was the guy, obviously, last cycle. He won 4 Super Bowls. He was a dominant force. And you got to put him at number 1 because, he's the king. And then you got, other camp that's like, I don't know, is he really going to be locked in? Is he really going to be focused? Is he really going to understand this game as well as the last one? So you can kind of go both ways with this. So he was basically either 1 or he was 5. So, when you aggregate those out, he ended up being number 2 on this list. So it just goes to show you how indecisive people are about Austin and where he stands and whether or not he'll be as dominant. But, have him at number 2. I think me, Cody, Austin, 1, 2, 3 in that order. It just means, all that means is of those 3, see 1, 2, 3. They have Austin at 2, but obviously that can change as the cycle goes forward.
I'm gonna get my opinion in real quick. I had Austin at 1 until proven otherwise. Connor, your thoughts?
I hate that rationale. Some moments like this where I think back to Fogo de Chao, obviously, a Better League brotherhood dinner that we had where we were all just guzzling juicy meat together, really bonding as a league. Cody. I was sitting right next to Austin, right? I was captivated. Just the muscles, the hours and hours of time at the gym, the sheer beauty on that man's face just absolutely captivated me. I say that to say, and I say this with no disrespect, obviously, Austin, best cycle in Better League history, Madden 21. There's absolutely no doubt. Matthew Davis, best quarterback of all time, best passing attack, best overall offense, of all time, if we're being honest, in the history of the Better League. We have never, and I say this as someone, the second longest tenured user in the league at this point behind Alex, we have never seen the same user be the most dominant force in the league back-to-back cycles. It has never, ever happened.
Don't
in this
get
league.
this man hyped up, Connor. Don't do this.
Well, no, I say this to say, listen, if you want to clip this, if you want to send this to Austin, if you want to have Austin and Nick watch this together in their apartment, by all means, feel free. But we have never seen it happen in the history of this league, and I don't think it's going to happen this time. I think the league, whether you want to say it's the league's caught up, whether it's, he's not starting out with Gunslinger, he's starting out with, we'll see how Mac Jones is. We'll see how viable that passing offense is, early on. Maybe he's not as locked in as everyone, maybe he's not grinding butt the same way he has been in previous Maddens. I had him at number 5. And, I'm the exact same person who was saying the exact same thing in Madden 21. I was one of the reasons that Austin was as motivated as he was to prove us all wrong in Madden 21. So maybe history will repeat itself. I don't know. But I have Austin as the 5th best user heading into Madden 22.
Cody.
Yeah. What's interesting is, and this is literally no disrespect to my brother Austin, I also have him as number 5. And that's literally not to say that I think that he is the 5th best user in this league. I
had him at 5. What the fuck are you trying to do?
Yeah, it really isn't for me. Like, I didn't put him at. But here, I'll say this, and this I feel like hopefully will describe it. I didn't put him at 5 because I think he is the 5th best user in the league. I put him at 5 because I don't know where Austin is. Let me put it this way. In Madden 19, we had a locked-in Austin. He was grinding mutt. He was a big mutt guy in 19. And me saying he's a big mutt guy doesn't mean he's a big cheese or anything like that. I just think when I say you're a big mutt guy, you're playing Madden a lot. So you understand each Madden's a little different. For all the people that want to say Madden's the same every year, sure, it kind of is. But at the same time, it's a little different every year. And so zones work a little different. Man works a little different. This works, routes, this route, work a little different. I'm giving some people some free knowledge right now here on the Better League Network, just so you know. Like this is free knowledge. Like each game works a little different. Routes, coverages, all this stuff. 19, he's locked in, wins 2 Super Bowls. 20, wasn't as locked in, quit the league, just didn't really want to play. That's fine. That's everyone's decision. 21, locks back in. Plays the most Madden I've ever seen him locked in. Obviously, we were quarantined for some of that. We all didn't have much to do, all that stuff. Has an iconic season or iconic cycle in 21. So me putting him at 5 is not me saying that Austin is the 5th best user in the league. Me putting him at 5 is I don't know where Austin is personally. I believe he's still locked in. I believe he's still ready to go. But as a guy that talks to him, on a fairly weekly basis, I know, he's living life. He's doing things. He's doing that. He's doing this. He's doing that. Could that change? Could the league start? Obviously, he still hasn't joined the league yet. So, but maybe he's just out there active tonight. But he could join all this to say, he could join the league and go win 5, 6, 7 Super Bowls again. Like he could go win every single Super Bowl and no one would be surprised. So me putting him at 5 is not saying that a disrespect on his name. Me putting him at 5 is I just don't know where he's at. Is he ready to be locked in and kind of take the league by storm like he did last year? Or is he going to be not as locked in? If he's not as locked in, then I think, he has more opportunities to be beat. And so because of that, I put people like, for example, I put Dan ahead of him. I put I was one of the, I didn't say this earlier. I put little Alex at 2. You heard it here first. I put little Alex at 2. I put other people ahead of him. I did. Because I just think, I don't know which Austin we're getting. No disrespect to him. He's literally the best Better League user ever. Just what Austin we're going to get. And but I am surprised that I guess the rest of the league agreed. I thought maybe I'd be one of the few people that thought that. I thought the majority would have had him at 1.
Dan, where'd you have Austin?
I had Austin at 3. I had myself at 2, and I had Cody at 1. Because it's just that, I talk about the top 3 like that. And I just basically had the same rationale as Cody. You don't know where Austin's really going to be right now. He's kind of a wild card of where he's at with the game. This is pretty much the least amount I've ever seen him play Madden at release.
Exactly.
He bought the game like 2 weeks after release. So
exactly.
I've barely seen him play. I've never seen that out of him. He's been very busy with just life in general. So I think he's just fine. Yeah, and he's just enjoying himself right now. And if he wants to get locked in, we're here for him. So, but that's just where he is right now. And I think what Cody said is just a reflection of what's going on right now.
Move on to number 1. No surprise, because he's the only person left, and that's Cody, who got the highest ranked, obviously ranked highest at 1, lowest at 5. Went up 1 spot from last cycle from number 2 at number 1. Dan, your thoughts? He's speechless.
You're muted.
He's speechless.
You're muted, Dan.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just got cut out. Like my Discord crapped out. Is it my turn?
Yep. Go ahead. Thoughts on
Yes.
Cody at number 1.
Okay, yeah. So I had Cody at number 1. Let me tell you what. So Cody is locked in right now. He's got a team that he's really confident in. He's telling me this is the first time I've ever started with a great team. I can't wait to get all this talent. He's got all these assets that he wants to trade and all that. I think he's very confident entering this cycle. I know he's going to give you this humble crap. He's going to, oh yeah, like I'm 4. Yeah, he told me what I thought. I asked him what he thinks he was. He said, "Oh yeah, I bet the people put me 4." But no. He was he was number 1 in a lot of people's hearts, and that's why. And he is locked in. He's understanding the game really well. He's playing a lot of Madden. He's getting a lot of practice in. Obviously, it's going to be an adjustment to go from the comp of MUT to the simulation mode of CFM, not only with the game mode, Madden mode, but more like to sim rules. Like, you got to mix up your plays and all that, and mix up formations and all that, because it's just a totally it's like the wild west out there on Madden Ultimate Team. But Cody has proven that, hey, he in CFMs, he's won multiple Super Bowls, and let me tell you, you don't want to face Cody Youngson in a Madden Super Bowl. I can tell you firsthand, it's not a good experience. So I have him at number 1. I think he's going to come out the cycle real strong, and I really sincerely hope we have some very competitive games between the Vikings and the Rams, and I'm looking forward to how he does in this cycle in general.
Connor.
Yeah, just to sum up my top 5 once again, because I think I kind of lost it at one point. Austin number 5, Dan number 4, Little Alex number 3, CMass number 2, and you know exactly who that leaves at number 1, ladies and gentlemen. You can do the math there. Cody, I knew ever since the day he joined the league, he was an elite user, a far better user than myself, obviously, a user who understands the game of Madden inside and out. He'll compete for a Super Bowl every single season, every single cycle, no matter what situation you put him in, because again, he started with a lot of questionable rosters, as he will tell you. But not until being in his division did I really fully understand just how smart of a Madden player he is, in terms of like, I had to throw the kitchen sink at him every single time. I had, a very, very stacked defense that kept me in a lot of those games. But ultimately, Cody, his pure Madden intelligence, pure Madden skill, won out more often than not. And he gained my undying respect during the Madden 21 cycle with our 2 games a season, ultimately 14 games, I believe, total. You said it yourself, Dan. Obviously you would know better than me, because you two talk quite a bit more often. But it seems like Cody's very locked in. That Rams team is going to be really, really tough for people to deal with. Obviously, we'll see what the QB situation ends up looking like. Kind of the same with you two. We'll see what he ends up going with over there. Will it be Safford? Will it be someone else? But I've Cody number 1. I think he's going to win multiple Super Bowls. That's I feel like that's all I really need to say. I can wax poetic some more, but I think this will be a multi-Super Bowl cycle for Cody Youngson.
I got something to admit about Cody. One of my first games.
All right, hit me with it.
One of my first games in Better League was in Madden 19 as the Atlanta Falcons going against the Cody-led Buffalo Bills, I think it was. And everybody's telling me this guy's a streamer, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to step my game up a little bit. So I pull up his stream and I sniped the shit out of him to beat him and win that game. I just had to I had to get it off my chest.
Oh.
Haven't stream sniped him since. But I had Cody in my top 3, well deserving. I'm good with him being at number 1. And so I just wanted to get that off my chest. Cody, you're up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Ocho
It's a
shit
weird
right
position
there.
to be in. Like, what'd you say?
That's some
What'd you say,
Ocho
Dan?
shit right there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure people are gonna try to meme me or troll me or whatever, because Dan said the same thing. But I'm being genuine when I say I really don't feel like I am number 1. I don't know. I have been playing a lot of Madden, but I'm like the biggest critic of myself. I still feel like I've got a lot to learn. I've got a lot. I've been playing Mutt, but I've been playing Mutt with easy mode. So how does that translate when I don't have a quarterback that can just sling the rock down the field instantly? Because Madden decided not to fix their game, but that's another conversation. But yeah, I don't know, Sudan. Yeah, I don't know. I'm honored. I love to see that I'm number 1. I have been playing a lot of Madden. This Rams team is definitely not as good as I had hoped it to be. I was a little bit. I mean, it's not a bad team. Don't hear me say it's a bad team. It's a good team. I've got 2 99 overall players. We're gonna plan to use at least one of those as trade bait to make this team better. I'm gonna try to flex my GM skills a little bit. I feel like that's where I've lacked. I feel like I've lacked in GM skills. And that's held me back, and where some of these other users, like the little Alex's, where they partner the good gameplay with the GM skills, and that really sets them above. And I feel like that over the cycle of 21 for example, for last cycle showed. And so yeah, we're gonna figure out what we can do with this team and build up and make an even better squad. And yeah, I think I do think I understand this game pretty well right now, and so I'm excited to go out and compete. Obviously, outside of Caden, I'm pretty confident. I'm going to win this division. We'll see what we get out of Caden. So I expect myself to be, the division winner every cycle or every season of this cycle. And so, the biggest question will be, we talk about, are you battle tested? Obviously, if I continue to win the division, I'll have a first place schedule. I'll play first place teams. That will help me be battle tested. But, will I be as battle tested as someone like a CMass, like a Dan, like a Connor, who's got, maybe some more, stronger opponents in their division? That will come to see. Like I said, maybe people will meme me and say I'm being too humble. I don't know. Just a weird position to be in because, everyone put me at number 1 and, I've only won 2 Super Bowls. Sure, 2 Super Bowls is a good victory. People would love to even win 1, but I'm going up against giants like, Alex, Morty, Dan, Austin that have won, multiple Super Bowls. But happy to be here, happy to compete, and I'll see you on the gridiron, really. Yeah, that's what it is.
All right. As you can see, we have the full top 32 here in the full power rankings. I want to go ahead and go through this quickly. And then the next slide, I actually have it broken down by division by request by Dan. So while we're on this top 32 right here, I want to go individually. I want your user that's ranked too high and user that's ranked too low. Dan, I'm sure you've had time to think about this already, having the list for a while. So Dan, let's start off with you. Who do you have too high? Who do you have too low?
Hello?
Hello, you're breaking up a little bit, but we can hear you.
Hi.
Yep. Think
He's
boy.
on.
Do you want me to go first?
Thomas turn.
Go ahead, Connor.
Sure. In terms of, we'll go overrated and underrated here. Most underrated user, I believe, is Cloud at number 17. I know that may, ruffle some feathers. I know that we haven't seen Cloud play in a while, but I know he's, very low key. I know he's been grinding butt like a lot of these guys that, Cody and Dan have been talking about. And he's just a better user than number 17. That's just straight up. I don't know, who had him the lowest, obviously, but that is just like wrong in my opinion. Like that's just a straight up just incorrect ranking. For Cloud. And then most overrated, I know I was going crazy with Ben, but Ben did make 2 Super Bowls last cycle and almost make 2 more, so I'm not going to, disrespect him too much, obviously. Hero Austin at number 6. That's pretty wild to me. I know he has, the same Cleveland Browns roster that carried me to a Super Bowl. I know that he is a solid, very solid regular season user, but he's going from one of the weakest divisions in the Better League history to maybe the best division in Better League history. He's got to face CMass twice a year. He's got to face Steel twice a year. He's got to face Tahuti twice a year. And, the fact that he's ranked 6, I don't know. Like, the fact that he only won 1 playoff game last cycle, like, I don't know how much he's going to even make the playoffs this cycle, much less have the opportunity to win these games.
Hello?
Dan, you go ahead, man.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, my Discord keeps like pooping out for some reason, but I think I got it under control now. You asked who I think is way too low and way too high.
Yep.
I'm gonna cheat a little. I'm gonna say 2 people. I think 19 and 20. I think Boz and Finn are way too low. I think they are going to consistently compete for playoffs. As I said, I've been watching some of Finn's streams. I think those Atlanta Falcons are going to be competitive for a while. Even though if they're not even that good right now, I think he's going to build them to be a good team. I just feel like he's a long time CFM guy, and I just have a lot of faith in that. Boz is going to do well as well. I think Cody really reiterated Boz has been grinding the game. He feels really well, feels very comfortable. I think he's going to be, he could steal a game or 2 from the Minnesota Vikings, and he could win. He could, compete for even an NFC North title. So I'm excited to see what he's all about. And going for someone who's too high, I'm going to have to agree with Connor. I love the guy. He's an amazing dude. But I think this hero at number 6 is a little sketchy. I'm not so sure what people were thinking. I think people were a little reactionary with the roster. They think he's got a very strong roster, which is obviously really helps. But is he going to be a dominant force that requires to be number 6? I'm not so sure. He's going to have to really prove it because, quite honestly, he's very unproven to be at that number 6. I see so many more people that have proven themselves in this league above him and below him that, that's just not justified right there.
Looking at my list, the biggest discrepancies were Kumar. I had much higher. So for me, he's too low on this list. And I say watch out for Darren Waller, watch out for Henry Ruggs. Those boys in this Madden are going to be a problem. Defense will be a problem for him, though. Kumar, I have much higher. And the person I have discrepancy that's too high, I had Justin much lower at 20. I had Kumar at 10, Justin at 20. Those are my guys, too high, too low. Cody, your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it simple. Yeah, I mean, like you guys heard earlier in the stream, who had the stamp of approval? Who had the Cody Youngson stamp of approval? It was Boz. I put Boz at 9, stamp of approval. Damn, right there. It's there. We stamped it. We stamped it. That's the stamp of approval.
I wish I had an animation that's just like a stamp, like Cody.
But Boz, yeah, I think Boz is a little bit slept on. Obviously, hasn't been in the league for very long, so I understand, people sleeping on him. But I've got confidence, I've got belief, and I'd hate to continue The hero disrespect
Oof.
or hate or whatever you want to call it, but I did personally have hero at 14.
Oof. That was probably his lowest or one of his
Yeah.
lower ones. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. It's just, I doesn't have the playoff pedigree for me.
Fair enough. This is the top 32 in the exact order. This next slide, a little bit more interesting, shows each breakdown by division. Also shows the biggest risers and the biggest fallers. I'm going to talk about those first. The biggest risers, Duhuti with the highest rise went from, I don't know what he was, but at 12 spots up. Chase 10 spots up. Morty 7 spots up. 6 spots up. Hero actually went up, but a little too high according to everybody else in this with me. Biggest fallers, Kook dropping 7, Steel dropping 6, Connor dropping 6, Lucky 6, Phil 6, and Jesse all with 6 tied for second there. And then you can see in kind of small print, it shows the average rating per division. Didn't have a lot of spots in here to put it. Highest ranked division was the AFC North with the average ranking of 7.75.
Give me my brothers.
Yeah, and the lowest division.
Give me my brothers in the West.
Lowest division being that NFC West at 20.5 average rating, despite having the number one user. Dan, you've already had these numbers. Your thoughts, just in general, seeing these division numbers on those risers and fallers.
Yeah, I think pretty much this is where the league kind of got it right when you think about it in the entire scope of each division. I think every division, if you were to rank 1 through 8, this might be around where we would be. Obviously, clear number 1 pre-cycle. I mean, we'll see. We'll see how it goes as we enter the cycle and we play a season or two and we see how these guys really do. And you CMass, and the guys and the 3 other guys in your division. The North is the clear favorite to be the dominant division of the cycle. I'm not necessarily dominant in to say that like someone's going to be winning multiple Super Bowls, but it's going to be the deepest division. It has the potential to have 4 playoff teams at any given moment of the cycle. Kind of a lot like how the NFC West was in Madden 21. You had Ben, Lucky, Kumar, and who else was there? King. Yes, King. How can you forget King? So really comfortable with how the league really ranked these divisions. As far as the biggest risers go, Duhuti and Chase were both guys that, were not ranked more so of how good they were as pure Madden players, but just of the cycles they had in Madden 21. Remember that ranking was more of a retrospective of how you did that cycle. And Duhuti was only there for 2 seasons. He had a losing record, I think, the first season or whatever. He made the playoffs another season. I think he is definitely better than what he did at the Dolphins. You're not really that invested when you enter at the very end of a cycle, especially when you don't have any time to build a team like that. So I definitely expect. I think I'm not surprised that he went up 12 spots like that. And Chase is just a longtime better league user. Everyone's familiar with him. He didn't have the best cycle in Madden 21. I know he missed the playoff season 1, left, and then had maybe another 500 type season with the Jets in season 7. So nothing really remarkable, but that his potential and what peak Chase is all about is much better than that.
Connor, your thoughts?
If I may.
Oh, nope, Cody. Sorry.
Real quick. If you all wouldn't mind just turning your attention to Slack really quickly.
Okay.
Just go to general.
Are we looking at the schedule here?
Did Justin just type exclamation mark 2022 when he can just quite literally load up Madden and see his schedule?
Isn't it technically the 2021 season?
That's not even the correct schedule either, because that doesn't take the 17 game into account.
And he's saying he's taking a poop. You can go on Wikipedia and look up the 2021 Los Angeles Chargers season and see who the Chargers are playing this year. Like,
That's all. Sorry for interrupting. Sorry.
I mean, you might as well go ahead with your take.
Justin was trying to end me earlier. He was trying to cancel me. He wanted me out of the admin. I think, it is what it is. But I just had to say it.
All right, well, go ahead, Connor.
Sure. Okay. As far as the biggest rises and fallers go, we love being disrespected over here in New Orleans. Let's not forget that famous rant I went on after only getting 10 votes to make the playoffs in the year, but I did eventually win the Super Bowl. So, I like falling. I like being kind of down at that bottom there at number 11. I think we knew heading into this that the AFC North would have by far the best rankings. It's what I'm seeing from this is it's really cool to kind of like have the visualization here in terms of like how people see the divisions breaking out. Just a couple things. Again, I do think Caden got disrespected. Like, I don't think the gap between obviously Cody, far better than Caden, but I don't think the gap is like quite so far where like you would think number 1 versus number 23, and like number 23 is going to lose by 4 touchdowns every single time. Like, I don't think that's necessarily the case with Caden. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah. Justin being number 1 in the AFC West, it's interesting. It's interesting. We'll just have to see. I think the gap between Ben and Cloud is too high. I think, again, Hero got overrated here, and it sounds like all of our opinions. The gap between Alex and Boz is probably too wide. Gap between Little Alex and the Chase Lucky kind of duo there is also probably too wide. So there's some users who, the more I'm looking at it, there's some users who I think should feel pretty disrespected, and I'm excited to see how that motivation kind of carries into the regular season here in a couple days.
I was going to try to see if I could find Bernard in the Bayou on here, but I couldn't. But just be ready for him on Better League Happy Hour. I'll have to remake his voice changer for Bernard at the Bayou. So go ahead, Cody, with your thoughts.
Yeah, I think for me, I'll keep it pretty short and sweet. I think the biggest fallers that are surprising to me are Steele, Connor, and Lucky. I think them falling a full 6 spots is a lot of disrespect. For Steele, was a user that made a Super Bowl. Connor was a user that won a Super Bowl, and Lucky was a user that was 1 game away from being in the Super Bowl. So I think that is quite a bit of disrespect for those guys. As far as the biggest risers, I am a Dahootie stan, but I'm a little bit surprised that he raised up as much as he did, 12. I could see maybe in the 10, like maybe the 8 to 10 range. So I am a bit surprised at that. I'm not surprised at the Chase rise up. We get a lot of Chase stands. I'm one of them. I'm just not sure what Chase we're going to get. And then, I think the other 2 maybe surprising risers for me would be Finn and Hero. Hero getting +5 after only winning 1 Super Bowl, or not 1 Super Bowl. 1 playoff game last cycle was a bit surprising. And then Finn, it's no disrespect to Finn, him being +6 is just slightly surprising. I believe in Finn. He's a guy that has his own league. He knows a lot about Madden, but it's just a bit surprising because we haven't seen him prove it on the Better League gridiron so far. So that's a bit surprising to me. But in general, I think most of it's all pretty accurate outside of a few things, but those are the things I'll call out.
For me, the thing that jumps out the most, I was listening to the beautiful podcast we had last night, and listening to Lucky and Morty basically when they got to the AFC North stating, we talked about this being the, I already forgot what we called ourselves or what it was called, Division of Death or whatever. They're like, I think we were overreacting, blah, 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 blah. Well, clearly the leads thinks otherwise, and y'all mostly said Steele should have been a little bit higher. So basically the average ranking was in the top 8. I mean, I feel like that's pretty crazy. And then the next closest person was the AFC East at 15.5. The NFC North at 15.25, which is more than about double of the ranking. So I want an apology from Morty and Lucky because clearly everybody else thinks that this is still the division of death. That's my thoughts on this. I'm really excited about Dahootie popping up 12 spots. Chase, I'm a big fan of Chase. Morty mostly getting those bumps because of that god tier secondary. Finn, I'm not surprised he went up 6 because I feel like 20 right now is just a good ranking based on reputation without doing it on the Better League gridiron. So I feel you on that, but I feel like +6 is where he's supposed to be at 20. Hero going up 5 was a little surprising just based on a roster, I would assume, because I don't think he did much in the preseason tournament. And then a lot of guys dropping 6, Connor dropping 6 is a little surprising. Steele dropping 6. mostly because of a roster, I would assume. Lucky, I still feel disrespected. Somebody put him at 31, but Morty already got the apology in chat, so thank you, Morty. You're forgiven. It's just Lucky right now who's dead to me. But that's going to wrap it up for this podcast. We're going to go ahead and get our final thoughts, and it's not going to be, it could be final thoughts on this, or it could be, beginning thoughts on the start of this M22 cycle. I'm going to start off with Dan, the heavy-winded guy, and that's going to be, go ahead and get it rolling here, Dan.
Hey, okay, so this is just the power rankings is just one of the many projects that we do every now and then, and I'm very happy people participated. Obviously, a lot of anticipation this time for the cycle, and just to see where everyone is at. I really want to thank everyone for doing this and helping out, making great content for one of the best leagues, the best league of all CFMs in the Madden community. And thank you to Connor and to Cody for showing up and doing this show. I want to thank you, CMass, for putting together this PowerPoint. I know you told me it took a while, took a couple hours to get everything together, all these numbers, and put them into good graphics. So I want to thank you for that. And just grateful to be in this league. Thankful for all the people that are willing to participate, willing to give content so we can kind of make this league a better place. And if everyone just gives a little bit of themselves, then this league will become the greatest league to ever exist, or it already has, but to make it even better. So I want to thank everyone for that. And more project, we have the season 34 survey. So maybe tomorrow I'll start getting to people's DMs. I don't know if there's gonna be a show for that because I think people are a little exhausted about shows, but if you guys are down, I don't care.
They never turn down content. This league is horny for content.
Turn down content. I love to hear it. So season 34 prediction survey will be probably released tomorrow. You guys are gonna get some DMs, and I encourage you to just hear what we think, because new cycle, and I want to hear all your takes, and I can't wait to hear the results. So thank you guys very much. And yeah, I gotta go and make a cycle altering deal.
Oh, okay. I wish you would have left off the part where you said that it took me a few hours, because I know Cody was watching this PowerPoint thinking he could have made it in 15 minutes. So that hurt a little, but I appreciate it nonetheless. Connor, your thoughts?
Yeah, this has been a chat league. This has been a content league for about a full 3 months now, and I appreciate you all for sticking firm, keeping your anticipation up for this league. The only user we've had drop off was Fern, and I think Fern would have been gone regardless. He's just kind of more tired of Madden than anything at this point. So that's really a sign of how strong this league is. We made it, y'all. We're over the finish line. The league's been created. Obviously there's still a couple days, still a couple more things we have to deal with before we can get the regular season going. But you get excited. Madden's finally back. This is probably the longest we've ever had to wait between cycles, but it's here. I'm excited. I know everyone's excited. So here's to a great cycle.
Cody.
Yeah, I'm excited. To get this thing going, man. I love competing. As much as a lot of people have talked about me and gassed me up, whatever, playing Mutt, my first love and only love will always be just competing on the gridiron of CFM. There's nothing better than competing and winning a Super Bowl. And I'm excited to get to it. I think shout out to you, CMass, for sure. Dan, for putting all this content together. I'm just here to be a drunken fool, and I hope I bring the content.
Thank you all so much for being on for this podcast. Thank you all for being on here. A big shout out to Morty with 5 gifted subs. Alex, who resubscribed with his Prime sub. Connor gifted a sub. Cam resubscribed. I think that's it. Dan subscribed also. Yes, he did. He resubscribed. Thank you. And then Cody also resubscribed. So thank you all so much for basically everyone in this podcast resubscribing, and then Morty, and then Alex. Thank you all so much for being here, paying attention to us for a good hour and 45 minutes. Thank you so much. We will have some announcements, I'm guessing, tomorrow on some start points and picking up on the free agent draft. So make sure you're paying attention to the announcements. Make sure you pay attention to your DMs for the survey that Dan's going to be putting out here soon. Thank you so much for watching. Better Cast. Oh, sorry, Better Cast. Sorry, Connor. Better League Network out.